Welcome to the Neuromasters Podcast, the place to reinvent yourself, master your mind, and change your life. Internationally recognized speaker, coach, and trainer Reg Malhotra will teach you tools to improve your mindset, change your behaviors, and let your relationships thrive. Are you ready to unlock the power of your mind? Here's your host, Reg.
Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to talk about something really thought-provoking and interesting and life-changing all at the same time. Now, this may seem very obvious that people are different, but in reality, most people do not truly live life in accordance with this idea. You see, not only are people different, people have different models of the world. You see, we all have different models of the world. And what is a model of the world? It's an idea that we hold about how the world is. It's an idea we hold about how things are meant to be. And the interesting thing is, with all of the billions of people on earth, everybody is pretty much walking around with a different model of the world. Why? Because we have different experiences in our life. We're exposed to different information. We grow up in different places. We learn different things. So we have a lot of different memories that our brain relies upon. And all the other phenomena that lead to what can be called as a specific model of the world. Now, a lot of the suffering that people have is because we expect others to be a certain way. We expect others to behave a certain way. We expect others to respond a certain way. We expect others to understand certain things in a certain way. And that leads to suffering, to say the least. It leads to angst. It can even lead to anxiety. It can lead to, self-doubt. It can lead to poor relationships. It can lead to poor outcomes. So one of the greatest things that we can do is to understand and truly understand that people have different model of the world and make a decision to meet people where they're at. And this is as easy as this sounds. In my experience working with thousands of people, this is something that people find very hard to implement. Because in order to implement this, we must truly recognize the many different ways that people differ. So let's take some examples. People have different things that are important to them. Now, these are also referred to as values. You see, what's important to me could be entirely different to you, because what's important to me is a result of my life's experiences. And what's important to you is a result of your life's experiences. So if something is important to you and I don't recognize that, and by the way, it can be very simple to recognize what's important to somebody just by asking, hey, in relation to work, what is important to you? And you'll get that information. Now, the next part is the best part. When you know enough about a person's model of the world, what's important to them, what is their preferred way of feeling loved, for example, in a relationship, what is their preferred representation system? Now, this means the way they experience the world. Some people are more visual, some people are more auditory, some people are more kinesthetic. People have different aspects to them. And the more we find out, the more we learn about them. And by the way, a lot of that can be detected through a person's language. But when we are only talking from our model of the world, we are only expecting others to do things in accordance with our model of the world, we miss a lot of that information. And we can experience friction. This applies in personal and intimate relationships. This applies in business. This applies in most interactions that we have with people. You see, one of the greatest journeys you can undertake is to not only learn about yourself, that's a great place to start, but to understand how people think and do things differently, why people do what they do. Now, that's part of what we do here at Neuromasters Academy. We spend a lot of time training people to really understand themselves, why they behave a certain way, what they do inside of themselves, why others respond in certain ways, because this is just like a superpower. the more you can meet people where they're at, the better your outcomes will be. Related to this also is something we're going to discuss in one of the future episodes, is that all problems are communication problems. And if all problems are communication problems, this is at local level, this is at family level, this can be at society level, a city level, country level, inter-country level, all problems are a phenomena of communication issues. And if all problems are communication problems, then all solutions could also be communication solutions. But how do we create communication solutions if we are completely close to the fact that people are different, they have different models of the world, and much of that can be deciphered through their language? People also have different filters. For example, some people recharge their batteries by being alone, while others recharge their batteries by being in the company of people. Now, why that happens, there is a lot to why that happens, but that's less important if you're trying to create great relationships, if you're trying to create great outcomes in your life, because no matter what you do, if you're going to create an impact with what you do, you're going to need to be able to relate to other people. Relating to other people and having the ability to relate to other people is nothing short of a superpower. And the first part of being able to relate to other people is to understand that people have a different model of the world, and then learning, equipping yourself with the knowledge and the skills around how to detect those differences and how to work with people. And that's something we cover quite heavily in studies like neuro-linguistic programming and some of the other programs that we conduct at the Academy. But I know that no matter who you are, no matter where you are, as long as you make the decision that you are willing to meet people where they are at and then take them from that place, you are going to create phenomenal results in your life. So the first thing you want to do is start listening to people's language. Have a think about what are the key words that people use, what lights them up when they talk about it, and start to meet them more where they're at using similar language as them. Now, this also leads to rapport. And when we have rapport with people, we can produce great outcomes together. Secondly, understand that people grow up in different ways. They could have lived in different communities. They could be of different religions, different races, different backgrounds, different work experiences, and as a result, may consider certain things to be more important than others. So finding out what's important to others will help you enormously in not only building rapport, but in really being able to meet people where they are. Now, there's a whole list of things you can do, but I'd like you to, if you're listening to this show, to start with these two categories. Make it a point to understand, to ask people, to notice through their language what is truly important to them, and start there. You see, one thing I'd like to point out here is loving someone, for example, is not necessarily the same as them feeling loved. Why is that? Why is that? Because we may think that the action that we take or a gesture we've made should automatically make another person feel loved. But if they feel loved a certain way according to their model of the world, then is that really happening? Interesting point, isn't it? Again, that adds weight to my argument here that getting on the journey of one, understanding that people have different models of the world, and two, learning and equipping yourself to be able to detect what others' models of the world is and deciding to work with their model of the world in order to create win-win outcomes is one of the greatest journeys you can undertake. And I highly encourage that you take this path, particularly if you've been having difficulties in having people understand you, in creating good relationships, in creating good personal and business outcomes. I trust you enjoyed this, and we'll be back again with more incredible information and insights for you to apply into your life immediately and start to see incredible results. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in today. Are you ready to take the next step and find out what's keeping you from reaching your goals and creating the life you want? Go to go.neuromastersacademy.com/GS-LP for a free transformational mini workshop with Reg. See you next week.